This is Movie Time. Leslie Mitchell reporting. Let no one imagine that recent victories in the Pacific indicate a walkover. The Japanese continue to fight back with a fanaticism quite unknown in the West, and they've combined their latest V-weapon with the national glorification of suicide in battle. One type of plane is a small rocket-driven machine launched from a larger aircraft and flown by a Kamikaze, or suicide pilot. He has no parachute, he's locked in his cockpit, the plane has no landing gear, and it detonates with a huge explosion on contact. From Okinawa come the first pictures of this weapon, called the Baka bomb. It carries 2,000 pounds of explosive in its nose. Kamikaze pilots are the elite of the Jap Air Force, most of them between 18 and 20 years old. Trained to die by suicide in battle, they are lionized after completing their training course, and special prayers are said for them. As their days are numbered and they know it, they're allowed a last glorious fling with the very best geisha girls, and their pictures are in all the papers for their national heroes in advance. Wearing ceremonial robes, with heads almost completely shaved, they march through the streets receiving the most profound honor from the people everywhere. Then they're ready for their last, inevitably fatal flight. It means death for them, but it may spell a triumph for the Emperor, so banzai! And now for the first time, the United States Navy has released films of kamikaze pilots in action. You'll have read a lot about them in the papers. This is it. That one nearly got a destroyer. Here, a Japanese V-pilot has ended his career with a direct hit on a carrier of the Essex class. He's caused casualties and damage on board an enemy ship, and it's for just that purpose that his own life was written off from the first day of his training. In this action, the sky seemed full of suicide planes. Even when they were hit, they still came on. Their losses, of course, are 100%, and a very big proportion are killed without scoring any success. Oh yes, it's a costly weapon, but the Japanese hold life cheap, and some kamikaze pilots do get their targets. Here, the famous carrier Bunker Hill has been hit. Fires are spreading among the planes on board. The flight deck is like an inferno, but the crew fights for the life of the ship, while men who've been blown overboard are being rescued. A cruiser has come alongside to help in fighting the fires. At any moment, if the flames reach fuel tanks or ammunition, fresh explosions may add to the crisis. Air attacks, mostly by suicide pilots, sank 33 ships and damaged over 50 in the Okinawa campaign. But when this film was made, not one battleship, fast cruiser or carrier had been sunk by them. Here again, saved like the Franklin by the devotion of her crew, the Bunker Hill survived the attack after fighting fires for 8 hours and with the loss of hundreds of men. In addition to the special danger of suicide pilots, the Allies in the Pacific are also encountering all the more orthodox methods of attack. 60 miles off the coast of Japan, an American carrier force was dive-bombed by Jap land-based aircraft. In this case, no serious damage was done to the task force, but Jap losses were heavy, and as you'll see, some were pretty spectacular. Pictures like these show clearly how the Jap is fighting back. American and British servicemen out there know all about it, of course, but everyone in Britain should know too. So far, we've only seen the results of enemy attacks, but the many dangers inherent in carrier warfare mustn't be overlooked. Landing on is just one of them. An American plane landing on loses its emergency tank. There goes the tank, it bursts into flames, but the pilot is safe. That's the emergency tank that caused the trouble. And now another pilot escapes from a very tight corner. With his plane enveloped in flame and smoke, he seems at first to be dead or unconscious. But he too is rescued from what at one moment appeared to be almost certain death. Pictures to remember, just in case anyone tells you that from now on, the Jap war is nothing to worry about. The road to Japan and to the liquidation of Japanese cruelty and greed is marked with suffering and death. In 2 months off Okinawa and the Jap homeland, American naval casualties totaled over 4,000 wounded and over 4,000 missing or killed. These are facts to note and pictures to bear in mind. For Japan cannot be smashed except by the skill, the courage and the sacrifice of Allied fighting men by land, air and sea.